going to try and do it as maturely as possible, and I'm going to try to put it into perspective of about what it'll mean for my future, how I handle things, how I look at life in general, and a lot is going to change. So, before I discuss what I was diagnosed with, I wanted to mention that this doesn't come as a surprise to me. My diagnosis actually was just a reassurance. The effect that it had on me was a profound sense of relief rather than, a life sentence. I didn't feel as if that news was breaking me, because I already kind of knew all along. I didn't self-diagnose, but I knew something was wrong. I've had multiple other chronic illnesses before, so it comes as no surprise to me, and it's actually very relieving to be told exactly what's wrong with me, and to know that I'm not making it up and it's not inside my head, because what I have is osteoporosis, and it is very rare for people of my age to have. Most people get osteoporosis or osteopenia around 50, where their bones start becoming more porous and you lose a bit of that strength. And I have very low bone density, and I already knew that because whatever happened in my life, I'd break bones. I fell off the stairs in school and I broke my bone in 2 places in my ankle, and I was in a wheelchair for about 2 months, and everyone kind of thought I was faking it back then, because most people, don't stay in there for 2 months. And I actually had a PE teacher threaten me with my grades, and if I didn't start running again, then he'd fail me, essentially, because I should have been recovered. Mr. PE, PhD, whatever. No, he's a PE teacher, not a doctor, but he told me to directly violate doctor's orders. I'm still a little salty about that because my bones never healed properly, and he had no idea what he was talking about. He just wanted me to run instead of read at the side of the football field. So thanks a lot. I shouldn't have listened to him, but I did, because I cared about my grades, and I wanted to keep my grades up in everything, because even just failing something as insignificant as PE would bring down my entire grade point average. So I sacrificed my health, and now I'm still struggling with that. So yay for 14-year-old me, 13-year-old me. Anyhow, that wasn't the first time I broke my finger. I broke my finger playing Duck Duck Goose, that game where you run around in circles, and I sat down on my own finger and broke it. Not something that usually happens when you play like an innocent game like that, but yeah, that was one of my first bone breaks. And then it just kept happening every year. Every other year, I'd just break another bone, and it would just be something I lived with. I fell downstairs on the regular, because I'm clumsy. Like, having this problem does not help with the fact that I'm extremely clumsy, and I have low blood pressure, meaning I faint. I have extremely low blood pressure, meaning I faint a lot, which causes, well, guess what? More broken bones. It's all lovely. It's all bloody lovely. I swear a higher power must hate me or something, because they gave me, let's do a little count here. I have anemia, I have thalassemia traits, I have extremely low iron, in which I have to get blood infusions and stuff like that every so often. I have partial seizures. I have problems with my ovaries. Too much information. Well, no, actually it's not too much information, because this is 2020 and people deserve to know about women problems. I have extremely heavy periods, and that doesn't help when I have anemia, meaning my blood is very thin. So I faint, aka, and then I break more bones, and then it's just a huge mess. And lately I've been having muscle problems, where my muscles sometimes start shaking. We still don't know what that is about, but we're investigating it. And basically everything is kind of accumulating over the years, and I would think it was all in my head if I didn't keep getting diagnosed for these things one after the other. So, yeah. I don't have much fun, but at the same time, I do have a lot of fun in my life. Lucky for not having broken a bone in your life. That's actually quite impressive. I do have a lot of fun with my life, and one of the things that they told me with my diagnosis today is I should avoid all unnecessary risks, meaning I should never go on a roller coaster again. That also has to do with my retina detachment, in which I almost have complete blindness. Not complete blindness, sorry. I have partial blindness in one of my eyes, and the other one has a massive spot in it. I had two surgeries in my eyes now, recently as well. So there's that. Can't make this shit up. Yeah, it's what I do with it. It honestly is what I make of it. And they told me I probably shouldn't go back to my pole class, which it has a lot of intense workout. You have to pull yourself up on a pole. You have to be able to do flips in the air. And I like doing that. And they told me I should probably not be doing that. But guess who's going tomorrow? Me, bitch. Yeah. I'm going back to dance class tomorrow, and I know that's probably taking an unnecessary risk, but I do know that I don't want to live my entire life in my room avoiding risks because of what could happen. I don't want to put myself in this bubble. I want to live life to its fullest for as long as I can with the conditions I have. Yes, oh look, my face is going red. That's another symptom of something. With the conditions I have, yes, my life expectancy is decreased significantly from the average person. And to me, that doesn't seem like the end of the world. Hi. To me, that doesn't seem like the end of the world. To me, it's quite a comfort to know that, you know, perhaps in the past, if I hadn't been diagnosed, I wouldn't have known how much time I had left. And I would have wasted it. But now I know that I don't know how much time I have left. I don't. And it could be a long time. It could be, you know, whatever. But at least I know that now. And at least I can make my future choices centered around the knowledge that I don't have as long as everyone else. So I've got to make do with what I have and do what I want to do and don't put it off until tomorrow. So that actually is a comfort, because I'm going to go out and I'm going to get my PhD and I'm going to be a doctor even if I die the next year. I'm going to get this doctorate. Watch me not get it. I'm going to be a doctor. I'm going to leave behind a legacy. With my PhD, I am going to write something that I know is going to change the world. Maybe not in a big way, but I'm going to contribute something in my name, and I'm going to contribute something I care about, and I'm going to research it, and I'm going to add to the conversation something that will potentially last and will, even if I don't make a name for myself, my research could in fact help other researchers build upon their research, and it, you know, it gives me a purpose. So I'm gonna do it. And I didn't always have the easiest upbringing. Well, no, that came out wrong. I had a good upbringing, but it wasn't by any means traditional. I left school a few times in my early years. I dropped out. That was due to personal difficulties that I was experiencing, which I won't go into detail because some of the people that caused those difficulties might be watching this. I don't know who's going to see this yet. But I did drop out of school several times, and I was labeled a loser. Some people, they may recognize themselves, told me that I would never be anything. I would never become anything. I had one ex-friend tell me that I'm gonna die alone. Very kind. I had another friend, ex-friend, I should say, that told me that the reason why I skipped a few grades in high school, because I didn't complete high school. I went straight to university. I did not, in fact, the last year I finished was year 10, which is grade 9. So if anyone wants to know how bad at maths I am, I didn't study past grade 9. So yeah, I had people tell me that, you know, you're weak. This person specifically told me, I guess you were eager to ship out because you couldn't handle high school. So that's why you went to university earlier, because you couldn't handle the social life and the drama of high school. That's probably true. I didn't like it. So I got myself out. I escaped. I don't see it as I ran away. I escaped. So, yeah, I don't know. That's something else. I'm more here to talk about the illnesses. In respect to that, I always knew something was wrong because I did break bones easily. I did faint easily. I was significantly shorter than everyone else. I was always out of breath no matter how much sports I did, no matter how much stamina I built. I was never quite on par with everyone else. But when I discovered pole dance, and many people will call me a slut, say, oh, that's for strippers, but say what you will, pole dance gave me the strength to, be confident with my body. Yes, there's some aspects of it that may seem sexy. It's about self-love. It's not about, doing it for cash. I don't do it for cash, in case anybody wants to know. I don't do it to attract boys. It literally builds confidence in myself, and a lot of it, what people don't realize is it requires a lot of core strength, which is this area. I am very grateful for pole and for my pole professors, my pole teachers, for building that confidence and allowing me to do acrobatics or anything that I never thought that I'd be able to do. When I was in school, I was incredibly weak. I never thought I would be able to lift myself up in the air and stay there for an extended period of time on a pole. I never thought I was capable, and despite all of the illnesses that I've been diagnosed with and that are still being diagnosed, look at my face doing this odd ass thing right now, despite all of that, I'm still able to do it. So to me, without sounding as if I'm bragging, just because someone says I can't, that kind of is motivation for me to do exactly that. People said I'd never finish school. They were right. I did not finish school. I went straight to university. People said, oh, she's not going to finish university, because I was in and out. Oh yeah, that's another thing. I was in and out of the emergency room regularly. I was in A&E. I was brought in ambulances to the hospital several times with seizures, all kinds of stuff, extremely low blood iron, a bunch of shit went wrong, and I didn't think I was going to make it either, but I forced myself to get through university. And looking back, that might have not been the best idea. Maybe I should have taken a gap year. My own advisor recommended that I take a gap year. I didn't get as good grades as I could have got because I was always sick, and I was literally typing in the emergency room. I had IV lines in my veins, and I was still typing my assignments. I don't type like this. I type like this. I don't know why I did this. I was doing all that. And yes, maybe I should have taken a gap year, but the reason I didn't was because I wanted to prove so hard to myself and to everybody that saw me drop out before that I was going to finish something. For once in my life, I was going to finish it. So I did finish it. Did I get top grades? No. Do I plan to change that? Yes, because I'm going back to school and I'm going to get this PhD and I'm going to make myself out of something, even if I die soon. I don't care. Just eat more meat. I don't eat any meat. I'm vegetarian. The candle, yes. I've recently got into candle, and I know it's by cardboard, but that's just, it's just the whole way I live. Everything's on the edge. Everything is so close to burning up in flames, like that piece of cardboard box, and that's how I live my life, and that's how I plan to live it until the end. I'm not gonna, as I said before, I'm not gonna put myself in a bubble. I'm not gonna change my life. I'm not gonna hold myself back because of all these diagnoses. I'm going to try and push myself, and if that means that, I break bones, then I break bones. I've broken bones my whole life. I'm used to it. I've forced myself to walk on bones that are still broken because I'm used to the pain. Honestly, it's not healthy, and I wouldn't recommend that to most people, but my pain tolerance is off the charts. It's funny because sometimes when I was in the hospital, I got in a fight with my ex-boyfriend, and he accidentally broke my fingers because, you know, I have osteoporosis, so my bones break very, 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 very easily. I went to the hospital and they just thought, yeah, they're not broken, even though they were quite bruised. So a bunch of people didn't think, especially in England, they didn't bother to investigate that I could have broken bones or I could have osteoporosis, because they just thought, oh, I'm young, there's no way I could have osteoporosis, but what I have is juvenile osteoporosis, so it just means I have what ancient people have. Old people are fragile because of osteoporosis. That's why they can't fall. I have the exact same thing. I'm just younger. So basically, all those risks, I had so many signs of it. I had so many signs, and I knew what I had. I just never got tested for it, and today I finally got my confirmed diagnosis. So it's a massive relief. Yeah. See, it is a thing. Your friend has it. It is a thing, but what I found really annoying about the doctors in England, I'm not really trashing the NHS, but I'm saying a lot is dismissed because they have to assume they don't have the funding to just go out and test as much. And I'm fortunate that I'm privileged enough that my parents believe me when I'm sick and they send me to the doctors. And I'm privileged that we can pay for private healthcare, because if I didn't, I'd be long dead by now. I really would be dead. So can I deny my privilege? No. Am I grateful for it? Yes. That's just the truth of the matter. I'm privileged, and that doesn't mean I have a great life. I have better chances of having a great life. I have more privileges. I have more opportunities, which I've lived my entire life feeling guilty for, because especially in terms of university, I felt like there were people that deserved it far more, people who wanted it far more, people that would put far more effort than I ever did. And the thing is, they just can't afford it. So there's that. But the one thing I tell myself is I did finish it because I said I was going to finish it, and I was incredibly sick throughout my degree. So while I didn't do as well as I could have, I did the best I could in the circumstances that I had. So I don't always feel like that. Sometimes I feel like a complete loser, but it's in between. You have no friends? I mean, I have about 2, and I lost one of my friends, friends that I thought was one of my best friends. So, sorry. Sometimes not having friends isn't so bad. You don't have anyone to disappoint, and I'm constantly disappointing people. So, it goes 2 ways. You can't get as hurt when no one's abusing you. I don't know what you should do. I didn't forget you. But one of the things that this diagnosis has changed for me is I'm not gonna do what everyone says. Because I've spent my whole life avoiding conflict, trying to appease everyone, trying to make everyone like me. I don't have the time for that anymore, literally. You know? The osteoporosis life expectancy is around 75, but if I do have a hip injury or a spine injury, which they scanned and said I have high risk of having since they're very thin, then I could literally be, what do you call it? I'm stupid. Quadriplegic, you know? That's a very high possibility that I won't be able to move my limbs anymore. So I'm not going to spend the time that I have left right now serving people, trying to make people happy. I got people here telling me to, you know, show nudity, you're ugly. I have people telling me, do this, do that, and I'm not going to bother doing all that because I don't live to please anybody anymore, and I don't have all the time in the world. Thank you. Yeah. So at the end of the day, what I wanted to say is I knew something was wrong with me, and I want to encourage other people that if you know something is wrong and you feel it in your gut and you know you're not just looking for attention, don't stop if they haven't found what you have the first time. Because I went to doctors when I broke my bones in England, and they told me it was probably not broken. They didn't even bother to x-ray me. And I x-rayed it a month later when I came back home, and they said, yes, they're broken. So just because, I'm not putting down any doctors, let me just say that right here. I'm not one of those, oh my God. I'm not one of those like, you shouldn't listen to doctors, they don't know anything. You should do only homeopathy. I'm not like that. Doctors do know their stuff, but what I do know is they're extremely overwhelmed and they don't always have the resources to check. They're human too, they make errors. So if you know that something is wrong with you, and you know that you're suffering, just because one person tells you you're not in pain and nothing's wrong doesn't mean that that's true and that you have to accept it. Keep looking and keep researching. You know, don't self-diagnose, but do your research, and if you think you may have something, bring that up with your doctor and ask specifically for those tests. That is the only thing that I can recommend, because in the beginning I thought I was weak. I really thought, you know, I'm not as strong as everyone else. I wasn't as good at sports as everyone else. I bruised easily. I fell down. I would be out. I fainted. I'm smaller than everyone else. I got teased for being a midget even by my teachers. And you know, that's what made me me. So I'm not regretting any of that. I'm just saying that sometimes just because there isn't a diagnosis hanging above your head already doesn't mean that there's not something wrong. If you genuinely sense that something is not right with you and you look at everyone else and they're doing well, because I spent most of my life wondering why I wasn't as good as so-and-so over there, why I wasn't as pretty as what's-his-face, you know, his face, her face, whatever. And I lived my whole life like that, and I have struggled with clinical depression. And this is information that I probably shouldn't release, but you know what, I don't care. I'm not even gonna, there's no point in hiding stuff. I've had clinical depression, I've had suicidal thoughts, I've had, you know, I've been very close to the edge, and it's not bloody worth it. Is that gonna change the next time someone insults me, that I'm not gonna feel it? No, I'm still gonna get hurt as hell. I cried my eyes out yesterday. I was bloody a wreck. I'm still gonna be a mess tomorrow, but I do know that I don't have all the time, and not knowing that I don't have all the time in the world means that I can start spending less time stressing out about small things, because the bigger picture isn't that big. What am I wearing, you ask? It's a Twitch colored shirt and some shorts. Yeah. I don't know. Oh, I'm really sorry, but you got through that, you know? That makes you who you are. You know, the fact that you're still here is miraculous. And it's not just a miracle, you brought yourself to this point. So I respect that a lot. Yes, it has made you who you are, and I respect that a lot, that you've managed to get here, because so many people would be in the same position and they wouldn't have come out so well, you know? Some people suffer abuse during childhood and then they become abusers themselves. That doesn't mean that they're not victims, but it just means that they haven't coped as well as you have, and you should be proud that you've come this far, given the circumstances. I mean, that's how I feel about myself anyhow. If you be a doctor, I'll suffer in the future. Well, I'm gonna be a PhD, so it's a different from a medical doctor. It's a doctor of philosophy, so yeah. Oh, thanks. That's really sweet, thank you. I'm glad. I personally don't feel as if I have much of a fashion taste, and honestly, the way I dress is, if I can put it on in 3 seconds, I'll take it. If I won't even put on jeans because it takes too long, and I could probably This is why this is my new slogan. I've just come up with it just now. People ask me why I don't wear jeans. It's because now I'm just gonna say that, you know, I could fall over putting jeans on, especially tight ones. I could pull them up and just break a bone, end up in the hospital. 1 minute I'm trying to fit into a pair of jeans, and the second I'm in a hospital and with a cast on, you know? I can't even wear jeans anymore. Safety hazard. Safety hazard. I wouldn't say I have very good fashion, but I'm grateful that someone at least thinks that, because I got teased for that throughout university. I do wear, yeah, I wear shorts. That's just me. But anyway, we're straying from the topic. I'm just grateful that someone appreciates my fashion, or lack thereof. What disease do I have? Oh dear. I have quite a few, but the ones that I just discovered today was osteoporosis. So, juvenile osteoporosis, meaning for my age, I have incredibly brittle bones with very low bone density, meaning I can break them at any point. I fall over, I sprain my ankle. I don't just sprain my ankle, I break the whole fucking thing. Oh dear, I swore on this. Oops, I didn't mean to. Aw, thanks. Yeah, you'd think that I'd be more depressed about my diagnosis, but honestly, I felt bad for the doctor because she was telling me that, oh, I've never seen anybody so young with it so severe. She kept saying this, and she seemed genuinely sorry for me, which is something that I admire, because doctors see awful things all the time, you know? Being a resident, I don't envy the number of trauma that they have to see. They have to get used to it, but she genuinely showed emotion towards me, and that's something I'm grateful for. But I'm not worried about it. I'm grateful I got the diagnosis, because now I know what the hell is wrong with me. I've been wondering this whole time. I suspected it was osteoporosis. I suspected I had brittle bone syndrome, but now I know. We're great. Yeah. It's really hot here. I'm not in England right now. I'm in Thailand, so it is around 90 Fahrenheit, I'd say. And, hi. And, 32 degrees Celsius. So it is quite hot, so that's why I have shorts on. Alright. That is hot. Unless you're talking about Fahrenheit, in which I'll say that's very cold. Yeah. But, so anyway, that's one of the diagnoses that I had. Osteoporosis. I also have diagnosed with anemia, which is, very thin blood. I have low blood pressure, causing me to faint, which doesn't help, because then I break more bones. I have seizures. Sometimes I pass out completely. Sometimes I just have partial seizures in which I jerk. I have a cyst in my ovaries, meaning I have heavy periods, and I probably need surgery. Not long from now. If it doesn't shrink, we could still be good. I'm hoping we're good. And I have retina detachment in both eyes, meaning I had surgery not long ago, meaning my vision is around 7. Legally blind, I think it's around there. But I can't really see anything that well. I'm lucky I can read your texts. I couldn't for the longest time. So I have that. That's about all I can think of off the top of my head. There are more. Oh, I have ligament laxity, but I actually consider that a superpower. I'm proud of that one. It's supposed to be a disorder, but it means I have hyperflexibility, which can be very useful in some cases. I can just bend shit. Did you hear that? I can, oh dear, my hands are shaking, but look, I can do that. I can do, well, no, I have a ring on. I can do a bunch of things with my flexibility. I can do that. I can get my thing behind my leg like that. That's easy for me. I consider it a superpower, and the fact that I like to dance, heck, power to me. I got more flexibility. I can do more of this shit, you know? So that doesn't bother me at all. I love that disorder. That's the only disorder I'm proud of, because that means most circus performers actually have this, and it helps them with their career. So, yeah, hyperflexibility is fun, even though it's a slight problem because my joints dislocate, and I've dislocated my shoulder several times. I dislocate this and that, dislocate that. For the most part, I don't care, because I'm already breaking bones. If I dislocate something, well, that's just one more, you know? I'm adding it to my collection. I like counting these things. I like looking back on the year. Other people look back on the year. Yes, I got the flu here. I had my first kiss of the year. I got in a relationship. I went to this hospital. I was diagnosed with this. I broke that bone. I fainted. I was in the emergency room again. Yes, on my next planner. Oh, everybody else has dates and universities, and I'm just there like, yep, another doctor's appointment. So that's my life. That's part of my life. I got used to it. I don't mind it all too much. I actually get a lot of work done in waiting rooms. I actually do, because I love procrastinating. I love doing all my work last minute. So when I'm in a waiting room, there's not much else I can do but my actual fucking homework. Oops, I swore again. Sorry. Yeah, so I get a lot of work done in hospitals. I don't mind. The only thing that I'm worried about now is being in the hospital all the time. There's a higher risk of COVID. So that's, yeah. La 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 la. Is it? I'm not sure. It could be. You might know more than me. Yes, I can do contortions that I'm quite proud of, but I won't show you guys because they can get a little weird and creepy. But, yeah. At least he got some time out of hospital. That's how I'd see it, your friend. And you got to be grateful for the time that you have out of hospital, because I'm in and out of hospital all the time, but what I really feel sorry for is the people that are always in hospital. But even they find a way to be happy. It proves that it's all part of your mind. You just got to not have a sick mind like me. But at the end of the day, now that I know one more thing that's wrong with me that I was worried about, I feel peace. And I don't know how much longer I have. I don't know where I'm going with my life. All I know really is that I'm going to get this degree and I'm going to teach. I'm going to teach and I'm going to fulfill the legacy of the person that helped me get back on track. My favorite teacher passed away recently. And I want to continue his legacy. He was one of the only people that believed in me when I dropped out. He let me come back to the school. He put me in the year above. He gave me a second chance, and I owe it all to him. So I'm going to get this PhD, and I'm going to dedicate it to him. And that's really my only life goal right now. I don't really have all these big goals like other people. And that's fine with me. I'm happy just being a teacher, you know? If I can change one student's life, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna look out for the ones that are quiet, neglected, ones that don't like bringing much attention to themselves, and I'm gonna focus on them. And I'm gonna try and keep them in school, you know? Do what I couldn't do for myself. And I'm never going to say the things that some of the teachers said to me, like I'm never going to be anything. Or I had one teacher tell me when I dropped out of a school in America, because I went to boarding school in the most preppy school ever, and I didn't even make it a term there. I think I finished one semester and then I came back, and he saw me and he said, "Weren't you supposed to be in America? Or didn't you make it?" That hurt. Some mature, bloody teacher that was, but at the end of the day, I know that some of the things these teachers have said to me really affected me, and I know going forward as a teacher, I will never, no matter how annoying a student gets, no matter how smart-ass they try to be, I'll never issue out statements like you're never going to be anything. I'm never going to say, if you don't pass my class, you're going to be a loser for the rest of your life. Nah, they won't get any of that from me. Oh. Yeah, well, that was your life back then. I mean, if you're not a famous footballer, well, you know, you're still a good person, from what I can tell. I wouldn't say that you're not going anywhere or that you were nothing, because being a good person is something, and it's something rare, as I keep discovering, especially on this platform where a bunch of people are just telling me I'm ugly, telling me, you know, hate, telling me I can't sing, whatever. You're better than those people. Yeah. And I did choose art. I chose a life of art. I very much wanted to go into medicine, but it's a very good thing I didn't go into medicine. Look at my hands. I can't even barely, like, I'm not messing with you. Good thing I didn't go into medicine, because I would have come so far on the academic side. I love academics. And then when it got to the practical part, I wouldn't be able to do it. So it would have been a waste. So, academic doctor I will be. Medical doctor, me no can do. That's one limitation I know. And I have immense respect for all my friends who are becoming doctors. You can come and take care of this bitch. Yeah. Hi. Alright, so, at the end of the day, I know I am a bit of a hypocrite, and I am saying to people to be positive when I have been labeled a pessimist my entire life. I've let a lot get to me that I probably shouldn't have, but me, a sensitive person, I've made many awful decisions, but not so many that I regret. The worst things I regret were things that I said to people and things that I didn't do. Those are my main regrets, not dropping out of school. That actually isn't a regret of mine at all. Would my life be far different if I hadn't? Of course. I probably would have got into a better university than I was at, that I had to go to, because I didn't have the prerequisites or the things to present to go to Oxford or Cambridge. I always, when I was very young, my goal was to go to the top schools. Now, whether I was capable is a different story. My grades, most were good, but I was terrible at maths. So, those big schools like you to be well-rounded in everything. They don't really care if you're an expert in the one field that you actually want to become an expert. That's what I don't like about elitism. To go to the best schools, they look at your grades, but they don't just look at the grade that you want to study. You could be a genius at maths, but oh no, if you didn't pass PE or French, nothing wrong with not, I didn't say French, I just picked French. If you didn't pass French, you're not going to go to the best school possible, because you need a well-rounded. Which I have immense respect for people that are well-rounded and have amplified their studies even in areas that they weren't naturally gifted in, and they've put effort towards it. I have immense respect for those people as well, but I also think that exceptions should be made for people who have talent in the field that they're entering in, even if they suck at everything else. That's just one thing that I have against these big institutions, especially Ivy Leagues, because I believe that some of the best people go to the smallest university. Hey, some don't even go to university at all, and they're the most successful. What it is, it's not just if you're born with it, it's what you make of yourself. And yes, you can be born a genius. Yes, you can be born with loads of money, and you can get any degree that you want, because you have the funds for it. Yes, everyone's born with some sort of privilege, and everyone's born with some sort of disadvantage. It's what you make of it. And as a hypocrite myself, famously, I haven't made the best of it so far, but I will try to make things better. Yeah. Is feminism a chronic illness? No, I would say no. I would say anti-feminism is a bit of a chronic illness, because that stuff can't be cured no matter what evidence you're presented with. You ain't gonna change, so yeah, that is chronic. People who are open to discussions, then that's not chronic. Elitism or consumerism? Very good very good philosophical debate. I don't feel quite qualified to talk about that too much, but I will say that elitism is a part of consumerism, in my opinion. Because in order to become elitist, in order to achieve certification, to call yourself elite, You have to purchase something unless you're full ride scholarship, which is very hard to get. So elitism buys into consumerism. Meanwhile, if you don't have any education or any thirst to learn, you buy into consumerism just as they play you. You're a puppet. So, there's that. I think you're taking what I say out of context. So, anti-female supremacy is an illness. Well, that's the thing. Feminism doesn't mean female supremacy. It never claimed to be. It is literally about equality. But that might be hard for some people to see. And yes, people are bending their backs over to compensate. With any oppressed society, I would say, people are now bending their backs over trying to compensate and pay back, which of course is going to anger some individuals. Of course it's going to appear unfair because these people are now getting advantages that they didn't have before, and they may be advantages higher than the privileged white person, privileged white male, you know? The advantage scales are shifting, so yeah, it might seem unfair, but in the end of the day, I think in a large scale of things, we shouldn't really hate the idea of feminism because I don't think it's meant to be that aggressive. You'd argue that elites aren't even a part of the consumerist game. I mean, that's fair enough. True elites. But in order to become a true elite, what do you have to achieve? Do you have to define yourself as one, or do other people have to, from the same ivory tower, define you as elite? It depends what a true elite versus an esteemed elite is. I know people who have PhDs, and I really don't want to become one of those, who know nothing compared to people with ordinary bachelor's degrees. They just have a thirst of knowledge and have done their own work. Paper doesn't mean everything. Papers are easy enough to buy. So, just like someone can buy a fake ID, someone can buy a fake degree. They can pay people to write their papers for them, which is one thing that I am grateful and happy and proud of myself for never doing. Have I helped people write papers? Yeah. For money? Yeah. But I've never cheated. And no, I've never helped someone cheat. I've helped them out. Perhaps more than I should have, but that's what I do. That's why I want to be a teacher. Because so many people come to me for my job. My job is an editor and a rewriter of essays or CVs, and I just fix things. You have some text, I'll fix it. I'll turn whatever you have into something better. My friend deemed it excrement adjustment. I turn something shit into something less shitty. But yeah, in terms of my editing, so many people have come to me and asked me, can you write my paper for me? And these are university students going to very good universities, and I always say no. I will help them. I will look at a draft that they've written and I will add to them, but I will not do anyone's work for them. And my goal as a teacher is to not make people so desperate that they can't write their own essays, that they're so desperately paying money for other people to do their work so that they can get a degree. I'm sorry, I'm getting really worked up over this. This angers me because who knows how many people I'm competing with academically have had people who already have PhDs, professional writers, write their degree papers because they've paid money, because they can't write it themselves. It ups the standards for everyone doing it fairly. I hate cheaters. And if there's anything I want to do as a teacher, it's to encourage people not to cheat because they don't have to. I'm going to give them the foundations that they don't want to cheat. They don't have to cheat because the tests aren't going to be that hard that I give. They're going to be tests that test your knowledge and test how you think. They're not going to be straight answers that are just rote memory. Can I do 4 years of college assignments for you? No, I cannot, but I can help you. Whatever the subject, as long as it's not math. Yeah, that's generally what I do. So, this conversation has gone on very long, and it's a lot of things. That's a grammatical error. It's many things that I didn't think I would bring up and that I didn't think were relevant, but they seem to tie themselves together nicely in representing who I've become and who I am and who I was in the past. Damn that bloody loser. And for all the people who are parents looking at their kids dropping out of school, that doesn't mean that they're losers. That doesn't mean you should throw them out of the house. That doesn't mean that they're never going to make something of themselves. What you should see is that person couldn't allow themselves to continue in the place that they were in the institution that they were in, and they needed either a break or to find their own path. You know, there's no shame in removing yourself from a situation that is so toxic that you're literally breaking yourself. There's no point. And if that's school, then I don't think dropping out of school for the right reasons is the end of the world. And I say this as someone who is going to become a teacher. I'm not encouraging dropping out of school. That's absolutely not what I'm going to do. I plan to make school a safer place as much as I can so that people don't want to drop out. I'm going to look for the kids who are likely to drop out, who I can see are having slipping interests, who don't really care about class, and those are the ones I'm going to focus on because they never get focused on. Those are the ones that get left behind. So, are there institutions that cater to chronic illness? For sure. And I think the Open University is one of those things where you can work from home, you can do many courses online, and you can do them at your own paces. So yes, there are definitely, especially in this day and age with the internet, for all the bad things, one of the good things about it is accessibility. And many people who never would have had a chance before at a traditional education are finding routes that are now possible. Going back, you know, people who have removed themselves from education can take courses that they never could before, night classes. They can do so much. It's amazing that there's so much hope for the future. Am I a librarian? That's funny. I do have a library. I do have a very nice library. And the candle over there is called Library. Let me bring it over for you. Actually, it's probably too hot, and I risk burning myself right now. But I take a bunch of risks. Ooh, I don't know if you can see it. You probably can't. So what was the point in my bringing it over? None at all. But the scent is called Library, and it does smell like old books, and that's where I feel comfortable, in a library. I don't know where you got that from, but yeah, I probably will be a librarian while being a teacher. I do have an excellent library at home that I can boast of, but that's my father's, not mine. Yeah, and it's very common for people who are very gifted to dislike school. Many people rebel because they're not being challenged at school. Or they're just not interested. One thing that school doesn't cater to is people who already know who they are. That came out wrong. People who already know what they want to be. There are some people who know, you know, some of the most amazing people. They already have skills, you know. I was watching The Queen's Gambit. She already knew she was going to become a chess player from the first game of chess she played. Some people are very lucky to find what they want to do at a very young age. And yet school bloody says, no, you can't just do that. You need to learn this. And people aren't comfortable with that. And that's fine. School literally caters to the norm. Not everybody is going to fit. There are outliers, and those outliers aren't irrelevant. Those outliers are people making the biggest changes, I would argue. Sure, people who try hard at school and get A's at everything. They're amazing, well-rounded individuals, but those outliers who suck at whatever, suck at science, might be brilliant writers, you know? And I think another thing is parents tend to put down the arts, especially in Asian culture. That's just where I'm coming from. Where they go, oh, when they hear their kid wants to study an art instead of a science, or, you know, computer science, technology, law, doctors. You know, they're disappointed in art, but I came across this statement that I really liked. Earth without art is just eh. Isn't that the cutest little statement? I really like that statement. So yeah, no. You are what you're going to be, and the more you try to suppress it, the worse you're going to come out, you know? I feel sorry for people who hate what they're studying because they've been forced to by their parents, or because they want to prove to society that they can do something useful, when they don't realize that their original interest was most likely probably already useful. Somebody's art may save someone's life, may inspire someone, may make someone feel that someone understands them better than anyone else, and that they're not alone. Art is so bloody powerful, and true artists know that. And even if they don't get as much money, even if they don't get as much recognition as all the other people doing the sciences and doing the medicines, their art means something. And that's something that parents sometimes don't see when they first hear that their kid wants to do an art. So I'm really happy that you support your son. And yeah. Bad energy? I'm sorry. I don't mean to be spreading any bad energy in what I'm saying. In fact, that is exactly the opposite of what I'm trying to do. And the fact that you think that this is bad energy proves I'm doing something wrong, because that's not the energy I'm trying to put forth at all. So yes, you want me to go back to dancing and jumping around and singing, and yes, I will be doing that, but now is not the time, because now is the one of the few times that I'm speaking about things that are important to me. And while being cute and singing and showing whatever meager talents I have is a passion of mine, I can't do that all the time, and I don't believe I should be doing that all the time, and I don't believe that should be the only thing that I'm known for. So I'm really glad to hear that you support your son in what he wants and that you believe in him. That's one thing. It's one thing to support your child and love them regardless, but to believe in them, that's just an added bonus that so many kids don't have. I was fortunate enough for my parents to believe in me, and even when I didn't believe in myself, and that's a privilege in itself. That's a whole ass privilege. I'm glad no one else is getting super bad vibes. The last thing I want is to ruin anyone else's day, because I could have ruined my own day easily, and I didn't, so I don't want to be ruining anyone else's day. I didn't mean to say anything. I didn't say anything bad about French. I'm saying that I studied French, and I was actually good at French. No, I was good at German. I was okay at French. Sorry. I meant nothing. I literally said nothing, and I don't know who's missing the point here. I didn't say it doesn't matter. French doesn't matter as a subject. All I'm saying is some people may not be good at French, and it's not the end of the world. You may be a language genius, and you could translate, amazing, because French philosophers, the best. And French are the best writers in the world. I'm never saying that French is not incredibly important. But there are places for people to be good at French, and there are places for people to be good at other stuff. That's what I'm saying. Oh. My message is to be good at what you know you're good at and what you're interested in, because passion drives everything. See, you took something so terrible and you turned it into something beautiful, and you took note of what you didn't want to put onto another person, and now you're a great parent. So that's another great impact that, it comes down to who you are as a person and how you change, because so many parents abuse their children because they came from abusive households. That's all they know. And they're still victims, as I said. I think I touched on this topic earlier. They're still victims, but they are enabling the behavior, and they're propelling it. That's the word I was looking for. Propelling the abuse. So what it takes is for someone to recognize, hey, this isn't right, and to make it change, and to know exactly what to change to not create the same environment for the next generation. I don't sound as stupid as I usually do on these streams, do I? I know I usually play the role of the idiot because, one, I'm very awkward and I'm not good at these talking things. I'm much better at when I can write or type. That's just how I am. And two, people seem to like me to be stupid. People like me to be goofy, which I am, part of me is goofy. But I'm not goofy all the time, as this stream is showing. And I know some of you don't like it. And I'm not gonna do this all the time, so don't worry. I will also do the fun stuff, Amy. You know? And I think that's therapy in itself, knowing that you're doing a good job as a parent now, is it not? You're telling yourself as a child that this child won't grow up the way you did. They won't endure the pain that you've endured. And that's a power to you. That's in your control from what you give them. And I think that's peace in itself. You know? Yeah. Yes, gaslighting is a very common illness of society these days, and it happens so many times. And the thing is, when you call someone out for gaslighting, they never admit to it. Because the reason they're gaslighting is because they're not seeing the full picture, and they never will. So, narcissists. Those can't be cured, because no matter what you tell them, they're going to think they're right. Bloody hell. Talk about an illness that's incurable. That's one. Narcissism. You can work on yourself, but as long as you think you're better than everyone and that you're always right and you're going to make other people feel as if they're always in the wrong, then you're not going to really gain any growth. So, that's true. Many broken people have children before they fix themselves, and I think that's why the abuse continues, and why they create more broken homes for children. The children aren't broken, they're from broken homes. There's a big difference there. There's a point on my t-shirt. A point. Maikotaya. I don't understand what you're talking about. But, okay, that is besides the point. But you are the prodigal son. You are the prodigal son because you bounced back. Prodigal son came back, right? You came back. You came back from something that most people don't come back from. So you are. You are. You fulfilled that wish of your mother. You know? You can tell her. If you still talk to her. You know? You did fulfill the prophecy. Yeah. Well, I don't want this to go on forever. I'd hate to make you bored of me or start repeating points. The last thing I need to add is to my list of illnesses, something to do with memory. I'm terrified of that. Oh, there's always a way to turn something around, and with my degree, a lot of it started with bullshitting. A lot. Okay, I hope my future professors never see this, and I hope my students never see this. Actually, I don't care. Let them see it, because this is true, and this is how I see the world, and I'm not going to hide that. A lot of degrees, the first skill you need to learn is how to bullshit. You fake it till you make it, right? A lot of my degree was spent bullshitting essays that I was really not confident in, and saying things about these topics that I was forced to do. So, if I put it that way, that's one thing that my degree has afforded me. Lots of practice in turning things around to mean things that they don't usually mean. Finding meaning in things that aren't always there, but I have a hint of something that's there, but aren't always obvious. That's one thing that my degree helped me in. Finding meaning. If I were to define my degree, English literature, what is it? It's finding meaning. It's not what people think. It's not studying books and books and books and fiction and just reading fiction and saying things about it. It's finding meaning. Finding meaning not only in the text, not what the author meant, but meaning in a cultural sense, and meaning to what it means to you. That's why I love literature so much, and that's why I'm so eager to do this PhD, because while I spent a lot of my degree not focusing on what I should have been focusing on and not reading the texts as closely as I should have as compared to the other great students, I now know what I want, and with my topic, I'm very pleased with my topic. I'm passionate about my topic, meaning I will do the research for it. So, what mean ASMR? ASMR is auditory something something something. ASMR is like sounds that are pleasant to the ears. You can Google it. Did anyone get you to change your major to something more practical? Oh, I love this question. All the time. All the time. People were telling me to do things that... Not my parents, actually. My parents never told me I was doing the wrong subject. But all the time people say, don't you want to do something more useful than reading books in a room? You know? But no. I never really took that to heart. I just saw them as ignorant. You know? So it never bothered me. But on the other hand, to people who are unsure or are insecure about their subject choice, that can be incredibly damaging. To be told that what they're doing isn't meaningful, that they should be doing something else. That is incredibly damaging, especially to young people. Being discouraged from doing what they love, that is incredibly toxic, and it shouldn't be done, especially by people close to you, like parents or teachers. The irresponsibility of some people, they shouldn't be dealing with children at all. Ah, yes, very, very good. That's what it stands for. I didn't know. I think my mother's watching this stream right now. I can hear it outside. Mom, I thought you didn't know about this channel. Not that stupid. Well, yeah, I know my family's gonna see this and they probably won't approve of everything I've said on it, but tis what it is. Tis what it is. Have I said everything I planned to say? I haven't planned anything that I plan to say that 1, this is not the end of me. 2, an illness diagnosis isn't the end of the world. Sometimes it can be a massive relief. 3, don't stop living because people tell you not to do stuff. Although you probably should be taking care of those risks and assessing risks and not taking unnecessary ones. It doesn't mean to stop living. Some people interpret that as stop living, prevent yourself from ever getting injured again. That's not what I'm gonna do. Maybe I'm not the most responsible person, but I am going to be a happy person. Well, actually, no. I can't even guarantee that I'm going to be a happy person. I stopped my depression meds, but I'm going to try my best to contribute to society in a valuable way before I leave this earth, however soon or however far that may be. So, yes. Thank you. I do intend to be a good teacher, and I know that I don't have all the necessary skills that I have right now to be a good teacher. One of the things I struggle with is public speaking. Even this is quite difficult, and even though I'm not in public. So I do have challenges, but at least I'm aware of them and I admit to them so that I can work on them. But I do appreciate you saying I'm going to be a good teacher, because the whole reason I wanted to be a good teacher was because I had a good teacher, and that teacher believed in me. And if I'm going to do anything with my life, it's going to be to encourage other people who think that they're waste products to become what they really could be, and what they always could have been but just didn't know. I'm making myself sound like an angel when I've done so many bad things. I've said so many hurtful things to people that I regret. And I'm a terrible girlfriend. So if anybody thinks that, oh, I'm dateable material, get that idea right out of your head. the two aren't separate, science and literature. In fact, I took a few courses. One of the degrees that I did, one of the degrees, yes, I do have two. One of the modules that I did was called Literature and Science, and it was talking about bridging the two worlds and how they aren't so separate. And there's a kind of competition between the two, I would say, where science thinks, I'm not saying this in general, most intelligent people do realize that in order to have a balanced world, we need both. Most people do realize that, but there are some people that don't respect the arts, and there are some artists who think that everybody else who's not an artist is lesser. People have firm beliefs in superiority and who they put their trust in. But no, they're not entirely different subjects, and the more we realize that and the more we try to bridge it, the better we do. Which is why I love dystopian and science fiction novels, because while it is still fiction, it may not always be fiction. So, like Orwell, like 1984, a lot of that shit was true, but he didn't actually, I'm sounding like an idiot. He didn't predict the future. He analyzed what already existed. He saw what was already wrong with society, and that's what he imagined and put towards creating his future. And that's why it's so accurate, because it was based on the problems of his time. He didn't predict the future like most people think. The importance of science fiction is to analyze what the future could bring, what dangers could bring, so that we are aware of these things and don't do that. So, if you like dystopian fiction, you're doing the world a favor, because by increasing your awareness about issues that happen in the future to do with aliens or whatever, these junk fictions, they're not junk. You can find meaning and value in everything. And I'm not saying that it's bullshit. You can literally turn anything, as long as you have the right tools to use your mind, to apply it, to analyze whatever you have in front of you. You can turn the most boring text, the most insignificant information, into something useful that can help you or others in the future. And I think that's one thing that English literature aims to teach and succeeds in. People are much more aware of what they read, and they can read in between the lines, and it builds empathy. Yeah. I agree with that statement. Okay, so what did we learn? I learned a lot because I actually put to words things that were circling around my head, and I enjoyed the discussion and the many questions and prompts that you guys gave me. This didn't go as badly as it could have. I thought everyone was gonna say, "Get off, you're a weak loser, you're bragging that no matter what you get through, you always get through it." Yeah, I am bragging a little bit, but I'm also saying that it wasn't always easy, and I didn't always take the best path. But I'm here now. May not be forever. No, I won't be forever. But it is what it is. Thank you. It means a lot. One of the things I always thought of was that I was weak, and I've been told a lot that I was weak. So you calling me strong actually adds to the good pile of things in life. Life is a pile of good and bad things. That's from Doctor Who. Oh, thank you. You're gonna make me blush. But I really appreciate you guys' kindness and understanding, and for spending the time with me, even if you don't agree with me on half the things that I've discussed. thanks for listening, and I hope I didn't ruin anyone's day. Someone who said that I'm giving bad energy, I'm truly sorry. I hope that you're not still here, because if I'm putting you in a bad mood, the last thing I want is for you to endure pain that you don't need to. So I hope you left. But alright. I might post this for my family and people who don't like me to see, so I might get a lot of hate for it, but who cares? I already hate myself enough. Anybody else's added hate is just adding fire to the fuel. Oh, I'm really, really happy to hear that, genuinely. Yes, I do have 6 dogs, 3 cats, and 2 pigs. I love my pets. That's another great thing. If you're stuck with a chronic illness, pets can change the world, as long as your illness is not allergy to pets. But, oh, that's one thing that you've just reminded me of. I wanted to talk about the importance of my cat called Karma. She has stuck with me through everything. Sometimes I don't always show, or I don't always speak about when I'm feeling miserable, but my cat, you talk about past lives, and I think if that's real, I know Karma is something. I know my cat was someone great, because she is always there for me. She's never once bitten me. Sometimes I've cried. I've dripped snot on her. I've had seizures. I've bounced the cat up and down, and she's stuck with me. So if you have a partner and my cat does more for me than your partner does for you, you might want to consider that something's wrong. Yes, I will be showing my animals in the future. They're my great pride and joy, and yes, they're a lot of work, and yes, I have people taking care of them, meaning that I don't have all the labor, so I get to literally reap their benefits without doing too much. Privilege. But at the end of the day, this is my excuse for not doing chores. I could slip and break a bone. Yeah. Alright, people. I love you, and make good choices. And don't give up on people who seem as if they're slipping, because all that it could take is someone reaching your hand out, the way one teacher did to me when I didn't believe in myself and I was letting myself go. And you can be that person. Anybody can be that person. You can be a bad person and just help one person, and you're making the world better. There's no such thing as a completely bad person. So, help someone. Help someone. Make your life a little bit more meaningful. Help someone. Do I love that teacher? Yeah. He changed my life, and I wish he was still here with me now. I wish that I could show him that I've become something, because he believed in me when I didn't look like a good student. I didn't look like someone who would be a doctor one day. I dropped out twice. So, he really took a chance with me, but that chance made all the difference in the world. And to his family, if they see this, I want them to know that Simon Lawrence's legacy lives on. No, it's not just my life that he changed. He helped so many. Okay. So, we end on an emotional note. It's easy to forget your teachers, but this teacher really made a difference in my life, and I didn't get to show him. I didn't get to show him my success. I left that school. And that's one of my top regrets. But what can we say? Well, his name is Simon Lawrence, so if you want to look him up, my school named a library after him, which I think is perfect, because he used to teach in the library sometimes. But Yeah. I wish he were still with us today. He's worth so more than all the other abusive teachers that I've had the misfortune of dealing with, and so many other kids go through, because these teachers don't care to know what is going on in these kids' lives. Sometimes these kids rebel for a reason. They're going through something awful at home that they never talk about. Simon didn't know that I was going through an abusive relationship. He didn't know the details. He just had faith, and that's all that mattered. So, be like Simon. There's one thing that I learned, it's to be more like him. And I wasn't a good person before, and I was selfish, and I wasn't a good girlfriend either. I wasn't a good daughter, but people change, people find meaning. Literature is all about finding meaning. Read books, read fiction, take inspiration, even for things that aren't real. Read stories of other people who have been through shit and still conquer. Maybe fiction, but it's all based off of something. Who's Simon? Simon is a teacher that I had in year 11, and he changed my life, and I dropped out of school twice, and he still let me back in, and he gave me a chance, and he believed in me, and he got my poems published. Yeah, it's my mother. I'm gonna do the pig. Teachers can't care about 200 students for 24K a year. That is such a big problem, and it's one that needs to be recognized. Teachers all around are doing all they can, and they're overworked and they're overstressed, and sometimes they can say things that they don't mean because they're human. That is a problem with society. Teachers don't get enough respect, and to know that you're not going to get as high a wage as other professions, and to still go in it to help people. I respect teachers, and that's why I want to become one, because I want to be someone that helps the future generation with what limited experience I have had. My mom is flushing the toilet. She ain't gonna spank me. No, we don't want teachers going into it for the money. I'm not saying teachers deserve more than doctors here. What I'm saying is teachers don't get enough appreciation, and they're definitely overworked, and they're overtired, and they can't help everyone. They can't. But my intention is to help the students that are slowly slipping away, the ones that aren't doing well. Of course, I'm going to love the students that love my class if they do. I'm not going to say that they're going to love my class, because I don't know. I'm going to try to make them love my class, but, I can't control that. What was I saying? Starting to lose it. My mom's taking a huge dump. Nah, it was too quick for a dump. I think it's a number 1. Some teacher, no teacher ever goes into it for the money. Most of them have a deep reason why they wanted to be a teacher. So, yeah. It's an honorable profession, and not an easy one. That's for sure. Yeah. Alright. I think I've said more than I ever planned to. And we've been more serious than we ever planned to. And I'm not always this serious. Don't unsubscribe from me because I am so serious today. This is just a mood. Alright. Love my class or detention? Do you think you could mold young minds to however you wanted? That's a good question as well. I do believe teachers have power. And of course, with young minds being as malleable as they are and as shapeable, yes, teachers have massive influence, and they can change students for good or for bad. Yes, you can push your beliefs onto students and literally turn them against their own beliefs. Yes, you have massive power to do evil, and some people aren't even doing it intentionally. They just believe what they're teaching is right, and they don't care if they change, a student's home beliefs. Yes, teachers have massive power. but they also have great potential for good. And I think the best thing a teacher can give a student is the gift of always questioning what you're taught. You must always use analysis, rational reasoning, question everything. Don't just take what you're told, and as long as you're on that point, well, you have your own mind. So just because young minds are young and inexperienced doesn't mean that they're not a mind already building and already sure of who they want to be or what they want to do. You can only facilitate. As a teacher, you're a facilitator. You help them grow up. You don't put things into their minds and try to shape them or change them. You just merely guide them. So, your teacher hates you for being too good. That's not nice. You should be appreciated for that. But yes, from my experience, being too good, can cause problems, especially if you're smarter than a teacher. Not saying that that's happened to me, but I have corrected teachers and they did not respond well. I literally, my literature teacher, from the one that told me that didn't you make it in America, or did you drop out? Like he said, aren't you supposed to be in America, or didn't you make it? That's exactly what he said to me. That teacher told me I was never going to be anything, and he said, you think you're so smart, you're never going to be everything. Simply because I corrected him for being wrong. If I'm wrong, which I am a lot, and my student comes and corrects me, I will thank them, as long as they don't do it in a dickish way. I didn't do it in a dickish way. I waited till the class was over and then told him that he was wrong. I didn't intend to embarrass him, but some people can't stand being told that they're wrong. So, how short am I? I'm 5 foot. And now that I have osteoporosis, that probably contributed to it because I have low bone density and I'm a midget. So yes, I am 5 foot tall. Hello. And plus, if you're good at your subjects, people tend to be jealous of you and think you're like a tryhard. So it's not always easy being the teacher's pet or being good at your studies. People call you nerd. People tease you. Yeah, and then if you're not good, people tease you. They call you stupid. You gotta satisfy yourself, and that's something I still learn every day because I get miserable a lot, depending on criticisms from people. So, yes. Yes, I am a hypocrite, and I still have to learn the messages and lessons that I preach. Okay, you want me to stand up? I will stand up before I go. Da, 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 da. All right. Bye-bye, people. Bye. Thanks for listening, guys. I enjoy this.